Hello friends, I'm Trinity Scott with Overnight Games. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the Artemis project. Designed by Bruno and Serge, I don't want to butcher their last names, art by Cristian Romero, published by the Grand Gamers Guild. This is a 1 to 5 player game that's going to take about 60 to 75 minutes. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Now, let's get going. Setup for the Artemis Odyssey. Keeping in mind that this is a prototype version, so some of the components are going to be different depending upon if you buy a retail version from a friendly game store or the Kickstarter version. So, first we're going to have the planning board in the middle of the table. Then we're going to take the artifact cards along with all of the resource cards and put them in their own pile so everybody can grab them throughout the game. Next, we're going to set up the stars. The sun, which is where we're going to start from, is going to have planets surrounding it equal to the number of players. So in this case, we have 3 planets around the sun, and then the rest of the planets are going to be distributed around the other stars, and it's going to be random, but you're going to have 3 to 7 planets around each star, and you're going to deal these out. Now, each player is going to get component pieces, starships, factories, colonies, and terraformers. You're also going to give each player planning cards that they're going to play on their turn, and 1 resource of each kind. Now, randomly figure out who is going to be the starting player, and give them the starting player token. Now, you're ready to begin. Each player will pick a random planet from the home system, flip it up, and place a starship and a factory on top of it. The game is going to be played over rounds, and each round is going to have 2 phases. The first phase is going to be the planning phase. So players are going to take turns putting cards face down on this track, and then during the action phase, we're going to flip over the cards from the farthest left, going right, and do the actions as they come up. Now let's talk about the actions. The first action we're going to talk about is travel. So when this card pops up, the red player will get to pick which kind of star they're going to go to. So in this case, they're picking this star. So the red player is going to be able to look at all 3 planets and choose which one they want. So let's say it decides to do the food planet. He's going to flip these back over so the other players don't know what they are, and put his spaceship occupying the planet. Also, when you occupy a planet for the first time because you've discovered it, you get the card that is represented on the planet. So you get a food resource. Now, the traveling player is going to be able to pick which player they want to have the choice or the option to travel next. So red picks blue. Blue then gets to look at both the planets and decide which one they want. Well, they think that this one looks pretty cool, so they're going to discover it, flipping this one back over. Now, blue chooses green to go next. But green has the option of not traveling because they're busy someplace else, so they decide to not send their spaceship. You do always have the option to go to that star or not. The produce action. So when this card flips up, again, whoever plays the card, in this case red, is going to pick which resource is going to be produced in the galaxy. So if they choose food, anyone with a food planet that they have a starship, a colony, or a factory, they're going to get those resources. Now, if you have a factory on a planet, you're going to get 2 of those resources. So factories are pretty cool. Let's talk about the trade action. What's cool about this is the player that plays it is going to be able to offer up any kind of trade that they want to the other players. And the players that can choose then to trade with the active player or not. But if they can't find any takers, they can still trade with the bank. The first trade is going to be any resource for another resource of their choice. The second trade is going to take 2 like resources for another resource of their choice. And the third trade is going to be 3 like resources for another card. Obviously, it's going to compound each time that you trade, but you can do this an unlimited amount of times. Build cards for actions. When this card is flipped up, whichever player controls that card is going to be able to produce or build 2 different components if they so choose and if they have the resources for them. Now, These are going to be the starships, the colonies, the factories, and the terraformers, keeping in mind that you need a colony already on a planet if you're going to upgrade to a factory. Let's talk about the scoring cards. Now, whenever one of these is played, whichever player played it is going to choose one of the two options. So in this case, you could either choose this type of planet. If you have a piece on it, you get 2 victory points. If you choose this side, it's however many terraformers you have on the different planets. Now, the tricky thing is, whoever scores the most points is going to get an additional 3 points for winning the victory card. Now, it's a friendly tie, so if 2 people score the most points and they equal, then they both receive an additional 3 victory points. Downside is, if you do not win, if you are the lowest scoring person, you're going to get a -2 victory points. So this is also going to be the case if 2 people tie for lowest. You're going to share the lowest victory points, and then you're going to get both of you are going to get -2. Now, once these are played, you do not get to put them back in your hand until for the next round unless you play all of your scoring cards, in which case you do get to start the next round. That is going to be the distinction between this type of card and any other. Everything else, you're going to be able to play that next round. This one, you have to wait to put it in your hand until all of them are played. So as we discussed, the first phase is going to be the planning phase, where everyone lays out their cards one at a time in any order 1 through 9 that you like. The second phase is going to be the action phase. So then we're going to flip these cards over one at a time, and we're going to do the actions on the card. There's always some added benefit to be the person that places the card down. So on travel cards, that player gets to pick where everybody's going, and then everybody else gets to choose if they want to hop along for the ride or not. The beginning of the next turn, the starting player is going to be decided by whoever plays the farthest to the right scoring card. So in this case, blue is going to get the starting player for the next round and gather up all of the cards. Now keep in mind that this board will show you how many cards you're supposed to play depending upon the player counts. So everybody is going to play 3 cards in a 3-player game, and you can tell from the depiction on the bottom. The first player to get up to 42 is going to signify a revolutionary breakthrough in technology for the galaxy at large. And that means that whoever has the lowest amount of victory points is going to grab alien technology cards equal to the amount of players. So the green, in this case, would grab 3 technology cards. They would pick one of them and then hand 2 over to blue, who is in second place. They would pick one, and then red would get the last. So each person kind of gets a boost, and the furthest person back is going to be able to choose which boost they get first. All right, end of the round. We're going to collect all of the cards that you've placed down, unless it's a scoring card and you haven't used all your scoring cards yet. But you're going to put all the rest back in your hand, and you're going to check the victory track marker. If someone has exceeded 77 points, the game is over. Woohoo, you won, whoever's the highest. Or if you check the galaxy at large and all the planets have been discovered, the game is over as well. So there's 2 different ways to end the game. This is a really interesting galaxy exploring game that you're constantly trying to get those resources so you can build components to reach further into the galaxy. What's kind of fun is each player, each faction, is going to have different destinations that they can go to. So there's a chance that there's some stars out there that red will never get to. That coupled with the scoring mechanism, and you can't put those scoring cards back in your hand until you put down or you play all of your scoring cards, it's a really interesting dynamic. Also, trying to figure out what other people are going to play, because those cards are face down until the action phase. You could duplicate somebody else's cards and it really wouldn't be that beneficial to you. This is a really interesting game, and I had a lot of fun playing it. Until next time, stay safe and stay happy.